اهلا بكم اعزائنا المشاهدين وحلقه جديده من برنامج اسال مع ميرا. النهارده سعيده جدا ان احنا نتكلم على حاجه جديده. معانا النهارده ريد كروس امريكا. الريد كروس طبعا بيساعد ناس حوالين كل العالم. هنتكلم على المعونات والمساعدات اللي هو بيعملها لكل الناس في اوقات الكوارث. كمان هنتكلم على الاميجريشن والديبورتيشن. معانا ديانا بويد. ديانا she's a regional program director at Red Cross. Hello, Diana.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you so much for the driving and your time. I know your time is very valuable. We are honored to have you today.
Thank you very much.
So, Diana, I know you have a very long, very important title. Can you please tell me your title and a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm the Regional Program Director for International Services and Service to the Armed Forces here in the Red Cross Los Angeles region.
Okay, so since we are very little, we hear about Red Cross, we are very admiring Red Cross. So can you tell us a little bit more about Red Cross and the service and the overview in general?
Yes, so the American Red Cross, we were founded in 1881 by our founder here in the United States, Clara Barton. We were actually founded on the battlefield during the Civil War, and it was she got this idea, Clara Barton, when she went to Europe to take some rest after her time serving she was known as the Angel of the Battlefield. And that's where she met Henri Dunant. And he actually was the founder of the International Red Cross movement after the Battle of Solferino in 1863. And she got the idea to start the Red Cross Society here in the United States. And we were, since then, we've been for over 140 years serving not only the military, but providing as a service as a humanitarian organization. We have 5 lines of service. Of course, we have our service to the armed forces. We have our international services, and of course, disaster services, our blood services, where we provide about 40% of the nation's blood supply here in the United States. And then lastly, our training services, so that people are prepared to respond whenever there's an emergency, and they can use their life-saving skills, first aid, CPR, and including water safety skills, lifeguard training, certifications, and all of those. Altogether, we makes up our humanitarian organization and providing help and support to those who need it. Our mission is to prevent and alleviate human suffering wherever it may be found in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of our volunteers and the generosity of our donors.
Amazing. So that's very important to know more about your services. I think we can access all the service at www.redcross.org/LA.
Correct.
And also we'll talk about volunteering or contribution part in the end of the episode today. So can you please tell me a little bit more about what happened in the wildfire? I know you were involved with so much. So can you tell me, I hear it from your presentation I attended last week, you said it's something like a disaster number 7, something like
level
that?
7.
Level 7. So
yes.
can you tell us about that level 7?
Yes, absolutely. So we have never had a level of disaster as this magnitude in a very long time. The level 7 disaster response is not only because of the major destruction, the loss of life, but just the cost for the disaster response. There's been multiple fires that were erupted after the strong winds, the Santa Ana winds, January 7th, that Tuesday, the Palisades fire, and then it later was transported to also the Eaton fire. Later on, we also had the Hughes fire, and several buildings were lost, and also the death toll went up to about 29 lives that were lost as of now, and several people, thousands that were displaced. We had our shelters, at one point about 8 shelters that were open, and we had, right now, we're currently in the phase of providing our initial financial assistance to those who were impacted. Thanks to our partners at Cal OES, Office of Emergency Services, we were able to communicate with those residents that were in the fire perimeters to let them know about our services, especially our financial assistance. right now, thanks to the generosity of our donors, we've distributed over $4 million of financial assistance to the clients directly who were impacted so that they can be on their path to recovery. However, we do recognize it will be a long path to recovery right now.
Yes, so you have 8 shelters?
At one point, at the very beginning, we had 8 shelters open. Right now, we've consolidated our shelters, so we do have 2 main shelters open, one in Pasadena and one in Westwood.
And every shelter, how many people they take?
Yeah, so the Pasadena shelter has currently about 335 clients, and the Westwood shelter has about 110 disaster clients there currently.
And you take care of everything, like their food, all their needs.
So we have we provide them meals, 3 meals a day, snacks as well. We also have our disaster health services that provides them with any assistance if they need to refill their prescriptions, to get medication, even their vitamins if they're used to taking vitamins. We also have our disaster mental health and disaster spiritual care team volunteers that are there to support them during this difficult time, because especially in a fire, any disaster, losing everything, and especially those who may have been separated from their families. We have our disaster reunification services, where we also had about 960 cases that we
separated?
Yes, requests for reunification, and so we were able to support them. We have some that are still ongoing, but majority of those have been already completed, and we were able to give them the information, whether it may be good or bad, but at least they know they have that peace of mind of their families, of their loved ones.
Wow. Okay, so what is the biggest challenges you guys face, your team faces when a disaster and providing services?
Yes, so of course one of the challenges is making sure that all of those clients who are impacted from the fires are aware of our services. Our shelters are open to everyone. We don't ask anyone for the only information we ask is their name and their address before the disaster, and that's the biggest thing. Some people may have had some fear to come to our shelters, or we know that several of those impacted from the fires were staying with family. Thankfully, from the city, there was various different partnerships and other people who were stepping up to support those who were impacted, offering to provide them to stay in hotels or Airbnbs. And so one of the challenges for us was making sure too that not only those clients that are in our shelters, but anyone wherever they may be staying with family just are aware of our services, and including the financial assistance, and making sure that they could use it if that's something that they might need.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about the shelters? We hear there is lots of restriction for people who lives in shelters. Can you tell me any restriction could be?
Restrictions? No restrictions from the Red Cross. As long as they were impacted from the fires, the main thing that they would need is we just ask for their name and their address beforehand. We provide them with a safe place to sleep. We provide them with blankets and immediate hygiene items so that they have something. A lot of people especially don't may forget to have brought their toothbrush. You're leaving in the middle of the night. Those small comfort things are the main things that we try to provide and give them.
Makes difference, those small things, of course.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we have a presentation, but before that, I just want to make sure we'll talk about the immigrant, also the deportation, because it's a big subject. Everyone has lots of fear right now. Can you tell me how you can help in the deportation process and with immigration in general?
Yes. So one of the services that we offer is our international services. And one of the programs in particular that I like to highlight is our Restoring Family Links program, where we helped reconnect families that have been separated due to armed conflict, international disaster, or any other humanitarian crisis, which also includes deportations. And I know that due to some of the executive orders that have been released earlier this month, one of them is the task force for reunification of families that have been separated due to deportations. And so Red Cross, because we are an independent nonprofit organization, we are still able to continue our service of restoring family links and helping to reconnect families that have been separated internationally.
Internationally. So if anyone like was deported and he wants to reconnect with their family, they reach out to you, and again, everything through your website.
There's multiple ways. Our website is one of the best ways. If they go to redcross.org, there they can go to our international services and find information about and submit an inquiry form for one of our Restoring Family Links services, or by calling our national Restoring Family Links phone number as well, which we'll review in the presentation.
Okay, so let's say someone lost someone in Mexico and they came to USA. Can you help as well?
So they were one of the main things that we determine if it falls into our criteria is if they were separated internationally due to, so if they were in Mexico, we have to figure out why they were separated. So if they know, this is normally whenever normal means of communication has been exhausted. But say, for example,
Say they were fleeing their country, because we had this case like a couple months ago. They were fleeing their country and somehow through Mexico they got separated. So some people inside, some people outside.
Right. Yeah. So if they have all the information, as much information as they can for the specific case, we would gather all of that. We work with, as being part of the larger Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, we work with our partners all over the globe to try to get that information, and then it would be that specific country where they were separated to try to locate the missing person and send the Red Cross message, or try to provide some type of communication for them to get reunited, and at least give them, the person who is the inquirer reaching out, at least some peace of mind on the status of the loved one that was separated.
Okay, and one more question before the presentation. The people who immigrant from their country, or they are here without like source of income, can you help?
So that wouldn't fall under our services that we provide for Restoring Family Links or in general. Again, most of the services that we provide fall under our 5 lines of service. And so it's not anything, we work with our resettlement agencies here also. We are part of the Refugee Forum of Los Angeles. So in this case, we would refer them to local resettlement agencies that can provide them with assistance with, possibly, to get their, any type of housing or financial assistance, or sometimes there's a lot of different services that the resettlement agencies provide that wouldn't fall under one of our lines of service for Red Cross.
But you can just refer them.
Correct.
Maybe you can send me the links or something after, and I will share it with our viewers.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I know you have a very nice presentation, so we can start maybe our presentation.
Yes.
ممكن المخرج يجيب لنا. Okay, this is the first one, Restoring Family Links.
Yes, so this is our Restoring Family Links program, where we discuss how we can help reconnect families separated due to armed conflict or international disaster. Next slide.
Next one.
So when tragedy strikes and circumstances force families to flee their homes, loved ones become separated. When traditional methods of finding one another are not available, these families often need help to reconnect. The Red Cross helps thousands of these families every year through the Restoring Family Links program. Restoring Family Links services are provided by the Global Red Cross and Red Crescent Network in countries around the world, including right here in the United States. Let's take a closer look at how we help those families.
Okay, next
slide.
one.
So here we have our various Red Cross and Red Crescent societies, and we also are part of a larger movement, as I mentioned, the International Federation of the Red Cross and the International Committee of the Red Cross. Those each are independent or separate. The International Federation of the Red Cross is focused more on the response to disasters internationally, and they work with the local national Red Cross, Red Crescent societies to provide support. And the International Committee of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society focuses on conflict zones. So I distinguish the two because of the C. So International Committee of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies focus on ensuring that humanitarian law is enforced, as well as documenting any visits to any of detainees. And so we have those records available for those who may need it.
Okay, next one. The unity.
So these are our 7 fundamental principles, and these are the driving force of the work that we do, not only here for the American Red Cross, but all of the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies across the globe. We do have over 191 Red Cross and Red Crescent societies, and one of the first principles is the principle of humanity. Ultimately, we're all part of one human race, and impartiality also the movement makes no discrimination as to nationality, race, religious beliefs, class, or political opinions. It endeavors to relieve the suffering of individuals, being guided solely by their needs and to give priority to the most urgent cases of distress. Neutrality, in order to continue to enjoy the confidence of all, the movement may not take sides in hostilities or engage at any time in controversies of a political, racial, religious, or ideological nature. And independence. The movement is independent. The national societies, while auxiliaries in the humanitarian services of their governments are and subject to the laws of their respective countries, must always maintain their autonomy so that they may be able to, at all times, to act in accordance with the principles of the movement. And then volunteer service. It is a volunteer movement not prompted in any manner by desire for gain. And all volunteers are critical to providing services at all levels in our Restoring Family Links program.
Okay, the one after?
So Restoring Family Links services here lists 4 of our different services that we provide for Restoring Family Links.
Okay,
We
so
have tracing, family news, connectivity, and documentation. So for the most common that we'll see is our tracing services, where we search for missing loved ones, family news, exchange of messages between family members when there are no other means of communication, connectivity, and phone service. So border phone calls, Wi-Fi access, and charging stations following a disaster, documentation. We seeking proof of time spent in detention related to armed conflict or political unrest. The International Committee of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Society keeps those records and documents all those who they visit in those detentions.
Okay, so I just want to ask you about so when someone loses his loved ones, what exactly happens? Like, what is the most cases you faced or you dealt with?
So I would say tracing services are the most common requests that we receive here locally. But we work on all of those cases, and year over year just depends on what's going on in the world, honestly. And then we can see what kind of services that our clients are in need of.
So mostly they get like kidnapped, or how they get separated?
Most of the time it's because of conflicts. So most of these are usually in conflict zones. It might be also related to a disaster internationally.
Disaster, okay.
So that's where we are able to, and we also had experienced that here locally after the disasters. We had people who had I was serving as the consulate liaison for the disaster response. So especially Los Angeles, having so many different consulates based out of here, we worked with all of the, communicating with all of the consulates on the latest information related to the disaster response, but also they were able to facilitate any inquiries that they were receiving. We had one, for example, a family from Costa Rica who reached out to see about their loved ones here that were in the areas of the fires and to see if they were okay. So our disaster reunification services helped with provide that information. The same thing for another family. The Italian consulate reached out as well because there was they knew that they had a family that lived in the fire zones as well. So those are just some of the examples. Most of our Restoring Family Links cases are because they were separated due to some type of emergency or some type of conflict in the world, or mostly a disaster.
Okay. Okay, thank you for clarification. And we can continue our presentation. المخرج? Yes.
Yes, and so the way that our services work is when a Restoring Family Links client requests our services, First, they reach out to our Red Cross website or come to our chapter. So our redcross.org website, our local Red Cross chapter, or by calling our 1-800-RED CROSS number are the main different ways that they can reach out to the Red Cross. The national phone number for the United States for Restoring Family Links is 1-844-782-9441. And the inquirer will be referred to their local chapter or local casework volunteer who will receive all the additional or ask them, do an interview with them and receive all of the information related to the case. And they can also, if they prefer to just fill out all the inquiry online, they can also submit all of the information related to the case online. The National Society or ICRC delegation will then send a response on the request for service, which the national headquarters team will review, register in the case management system, and pass to the local caseworker for delivery to the inquirer. And again, that's basically how all of our Red Cross and Red Crescent societies collaborate with one another in making sure that the case is being sent to the appropriate people and the appropriate team. The national headquarters team also receives requests from the other national societies and ICRC delegations. Those requests are registered in the casework case management system, reviewed, and then forwarded to the appropriate region for action. Next slide.
بعد كده.
And so our national headquarters role, giving guidance to the regions on conducting casework activities, as well as coordinating casework activities with our national societies and ICRC partners. Developing tools so that regions can reach out to service providers and potential clients in their area to make sure that the service is known and understood. So that's why we work with our Refugee Forum of Los Angeles and our various resettlement agencies to make sure that those people that may have been impacted from whatever conflicts may be going on in the world or whatever disasters may have been happening in the current, we can make sure that those communities may be aware of our services. Mm-hmm. And this is a map of all the countries that we work with. So as you can see, we have 191 Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. However, not all Red Cross, Red Crescent societies do offer these services, but majority of them do. So this is just a snapshot of the different Red Cross and Red Crescent societies that do offer it, which is about 100 different Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. But as I mentioned previously, conflicts are the main generator for our Restoring Family Links casework. We also, some examples include the conflict in Somalia, the Cold War, and World War II. And conflicts, and so 80% of our casework in particular are related to some type of conflict. So those are just majority of the different cases that we received. So the next slide here is an example of one of our Restoring Family Links cases.
ممكن الثانية بعد كده.
Oh,
We're missing one.
oh, if so, then that's, oh, okay. I thought there was one more slide, but we can just leave it at that one. I think that was the video for the One Wish.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the video.
So the video is a great video.
I watched it.
It's in particular about a client who is talking about his mom who had one wish. Mm-hmm. And the wish was to find her missing son. This was from the Vietnam War. He was from Vietnam, and they were separated. And ultimately, after connecting with the Red Cross, and they were able to initiate a Restoring Family Links case, and they were able to locate him. He was able to return home to Vietnam after several years, and he was just surprised to see so many different people who were his family that were there waiting for him, and were welcoming him and just happy to be able to see him and for them to be reunited. But it's just an example of one of our successful Restoring Family Links cases. Some of our cases sometimes do take a very long time to locate the missing loved ones, but for those specific successful cases, they make it all worthwhile to be able to see the impact of those families being reunited after being separated for such a long time.
Yes. Yeah, the video is very nice. I wish if you, maybe you can send it to me later and I will share it with them later.
Yes.
So volunteering with Red Cross is something like a really a dream for too many people. So can you tell me how we can be part of Red Cross?
Yes. So 90% of our workforce is made up of volunteers. So we are always in need of volunteers. And there's almost several different opportunities that volunteers can get engaged with the Red Cross that would align with their interests, depending on what they're interested in, whether it be in international services or disaster services, or just simply providing support for someone who's in need of assistance. The best way that they can get involved with volunteering is by going to our website, redcross.org, and they can go to volunteer and fill out a volunteer application. And from there, once they fill out the application and what their interests are, they can get referred to their specific department where they can actually find out how to get started, the next steps. And yes, the volunteers are the backbone of our workforce, and none of the work that we do, none of our mission would be possible without the power of our volunteers. So we would really appreciate and love to have additional people to join us and help us with our mission.
Thank you. I know there is 500 people, they joined you in the wildfire.
Yes. So we actually, after the wildfire erupted on that Tuesday, the following Wednesday, our volunteer management portal actually was, we were inundated with volunteers of so many people who wanted to volunteer. It was over 10,000 applicants who wanted. Yes, and it was so amazing just to see. But we have been able to reach out to some of them already, and most of the roles that our volunteers for the disaster response do require specific training. So we did require a lot of our volunteers that were already in our volunteer management system to get involved and respond right away. But we were able to still engage some of the volunteers, especially the local volunteers, to help out in some way or shape or form, whether it be through transportation. We had to have volunteers shuttle volunteers from the airport to our headquarters back and forth, or even in feeding at our disaster response headquarters. So those are just some of the things that our volunteers who didn't have the necessary training to still get feel part of this wonderful operation responding to the wildfires.
Absolutely. Also, the blood donation. I know it's very important. You said like you provide the 40% of the nation blood. So can you tell me how we can participate or be part of that?
Yes. So every 2 seconds there's someone who's in need for blood, and we especially were impacted here locally because we had several of our blood drives that were canceled due to the fires and due to certain roadways being blocked off as well. And so we had to encourage people to just help and donate, especially at our donor centers. Everyone can donate as long as they meet certain criteria, so being at least 110 pounds and being in overall good health. And our website to sign up for an appointment is redcrossblood.org, and they can also make an appointment over the phone by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS, and they can see what blood drive is taking place in their community or in their area closest to them.
Okay, and what else, what kind of other contribution you looking for?
Yeah, so other ways besides volunteering or donating blood, they can also donate financially by going to our website, redcross.org, and make a donation that way. Those are the best ways right now that they can, anyone who's interested in supporting the Red Cross, that they could help out.
Yes, of course, Red Cross supporting like too many lives, so that's the least. So also, I want to ask you, before the disaster, what project you were working on?
Yes, for our department in particular.
Yes.
So we have various different activities that we do within our department. So we have our service to the armed forces, where we work with our veterans and our active duty service members. We also have our international services, where we work with our again, our resettlement, a refugee forum of Los Angeles, which is made up of several resettlement agencies. So those are some of the ongoing projects that we have going on an ongoing basis. But those main thing is making sure that our communities are prepared and resilient.
Yes.
Whenever there's something
happening,
taking place. Our local VA here was also impacted because of the fires, and so we had about 200 veterans that were evacuated, and we opened up a partner shelter at the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall for those veteran clients in particular. So,
yeah, so many sad things happens. So that's good you guys are like, you know, helping and everything. So, and what message you would like to send to the people today?
Yes, the biggest message is a message of hope ultimately. The Red Cross is there during the darkest times, and we know that it's challenging, especially during these times of disaster and just things that are occurring, especially in today's day. But Red Cross, we sometimes amidst all of this disaster, you kind of get to witness the best of humanity, of everyone coming together and supporting one another. So just, you know, we encourage those who want to be part of our mission to join us and support our mission and helping to alleviate human suffering.
Of course, and you guys are not only in Los Angeles. Can you tell me are you in every state?
Yes, so we do have various Red Cross chapters all over the country, various regions, and we have the different divisions. So our division is made up we're the Pacific Division, which includes, of course, the Pacific Islands, Hawaii, Guam, and the Mariana Islands. And then, of course, we have our Southeast Division, which includes not only just the U.S. Virgin Islands, but also Puerto Rico. So those are all of the different Red Cross, the American Red Cross regions and divisions that we have within the United States. But of course, we are part of a larger movement all over the globe as well.
So I think every state has an office for you guys? Like if someone watching from Florida or from New Jersey.
Most of them would have their own office. Some of our chapters are which are, for example, our Idaho, Montana region. That chapter includes multiple states, but we do mostly have a chapter office in every state, and they can search our website, redcross.org, and enter their zip code and find their closest chapter to them.
Yes, and you can donate blood or just to be volunteer in any kind of disaster or service they provide, or just to give them financial help. So that all counts and help. So Diana, I am very honored to have you, and I wish if we can, as our Egyptian and Arabic community, to be part of your Red Cross, because you are in Egypt too. Like always we see Red Cross cars coming to, you know, collect blood and stuff. So thank you so much, and I wish if we can be like help to you as you are help to the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Diana Boyd, and we'll see you soon again.
Thank you.
شكرا اعزائي المشاهدين. النهارده اتعلمنا عن الريد كروس من واحنا صغيرين واحنا بنشوف عربيات الريد كروس، الصليب الاحمر، حاجه كبيره جدا في كل العالم. اتمنى ان احنا كمان نحاول نكون فولنتير معاهم او نحاول نساعدهم، ولو احنا كمان عايزين مساعده. I think you're gonna give me few links for those refugee right places.
Yes.
اوكي، انا كمان هاخد منها شويه لينكس علشان خاطر الناس اللي جايه جديده في البلد هم بيساعدوهم يلاقوا سكن، او هعرف اكتر عشان ما اقولكوش حاجه غلط، هعرف اكتر وارجع لكم بالمعلومات. شكرا جدا، والنهارده انا كنت مبسوطه. ربنا يحافظ عليكم وعلى بيوتكم، ما يحصلش كوارث في العالم ابدا يا رب، واشوفكم في حلقات جايه من اسال مع ميرا. باي باي.